Tell some people you're heading home at 9, and their face does this small wounded thing, like you've just announced you don't believe in friendship. There's a whole category of person who isn't antisocial, isn't shy, isn't cold. They like you. They'll show up. They'll be warm. They'll mean every word. And then, at some quietly precise moment, a meter inside them hits 0, and the only thing in the world that sounds good is a closed door and no one behind it. So here's what I want to figure out today. Why does time with people, even people they genuinely love, cost them something that time alone pays back? The lazy reading is that these people are rude, standoffish, a little stuck up maybe, too good for the after party, or the softer version, oh, they're just shy, said in the same tone you'd use about someone afraid of dogs. Both of those completely miss it. Shyness is fear, and this isn't fear. The person leaving early isn't scared of the room. A lot of the time, they were the best thing in it. Rudeness is indifference, and this isn't that either. They're often paying closer attention to everyone than the people who stay till 2. What's happening has nothing to do with how much they like you. It has to do with what being around you costs to run. Start with the body, because this is where it lives first. Every room you walk into is sending you information, constantly. The hum of the fridge, 3 conversations at once. Someone's expression shifting half a degree, the lighting, the temperature. Whether the person across from you seemed slightly off when they said they were fine. Most of it you never consciously notice, but something in you is registering all of it, running a quiet tab in the background that never stops adding. For some people, that tab runs faster. The same dinner that leaves one person pleasantly buzzed, leaves another feeling like every input got turned up to maximum and left there. It's not that they experienced something different. They processed more of it at a higher volume, and there's a bill for that. Quiet isn't a preference for them the way some people prefer tea over coffee. Quiet is the only setting where the tab stops climbing. But there's a second layer, and it's social. When you're with people, you're not just present, you're performing a version of presence, tracking whether they're enjoying themselves, softening the thing you almost said, arranging your face into the right shape for the moment. The sociologist Arlie Hochschild, that's Hochschild, named this back in 1983, emotional labor. The work of managing what you feel so it matches what the situation asks for. Hochschild was writing about flight attendants and bill collectors. Jobs where your feelings are part of the product. But the same work happens at brunch. It happens at your own birthday. And it's real work even when you love the people. Maybe especially then, because you care how it goes. Here's the part nobody puts on the receipt. That labor doesn't stop when the conversation gets good. It just gets easier to ignore. So the bill arrives later, in the car, in the silence, in the strange flatness afterward that has no obvious cause. And then there's the deepest layer, which is about who you are when no one's looking. All day you're slightly shaped by the people around you. A little funnier here, more careful there, a version of yourself adjusted for the room. None of it is fake, but none of it is quite the whole thing either, and after enough hours, the adjusted self starts to feel like the only self, while something underneath goes quiet and unreachable. Solitude is where that something comes back. It's like a field left fallow. Plant the same soil season after season, and the yield drops. So the old practice was to leave a field unplanted for a year. To an outsider, it looks like pure waste. Idle land, nothing growing, nothing earned. But that empty season is the entire reason anything grows the next one. The ground is quietly rebuilding what the harvest took. That's what a quiet evening is. Not nothing happening, the self rebuilding what the day spent. It looks like withdrawal from the outside. From the inside, it's the only thing that makes the next room survivable. Now, I want to be fair to the other side here. Some people genuinely run the opposite way. A full room doesn't drain them, it fills them up. and the quiet evening you crave would leave them restless and low. That's real, and it's not a worse design. Good for them, honestly. And some of you, I'll say this gently, have started using "I need to recharge" as a door you close a little too fast. The need is real, but it can quietly turn into a way to never be inconvenienced, to skip the hard conversation, to call avoidance self-care. The honest question isn't whether you need the quiet. You do. It's whether you've started reaching for it before the cost has actually been paid. So where does that leave the person who needs the closed door? Not fixed, not in need of fixing, but probably done with one specific project, the project of trying to need less than you need. You've maybe spent years treating your own limit as a flaw to push through, staying the extra hour, wondering why everyone else seems to have more in the tank. They don't have more in the tank. They have a smaller tab or a cheaper performance or a self that doesn't need as much rebuilding. Yours costs what it costs. The work isn't getting that number down. The work is finally believing the number and building a life that plans for it instead of being ambushed by it every single time. So here's one small thing to try, and it's a strange one because it asks you to do less, not more. After your next people-heavy stretch, a long meeting, a dinner, a family afternoon, give yourself 10 minutes of genuinely empty time. Not your phone, not a podcast, not a show in the background, no input at all. Sit or walk or stare out a window. It'll feel slightly uncomfortable, maybe even boring for the first few minutes. Then notice what comes back online. A thought you'd lost, a small return of okayness. That's the field rebuilding. You're just watching it happen on purpose for once. Before you go, I'm curious about one specific thing. What's the moment you knew you had to leave? Not the polite excuse you gave, the actual internal signal, the thing that flips and tells you the tab's run out. Drop it in the comments because someone scrolling past is going to read theirs in your words and feel a little less like the only one who leaves early. And if you want more of these, the quiet patterns nobody quite says out loud, that's the whole reason this channel exists. There's a lot more of it coming.